Thank you. Back to the president. The app went through 177 different versions, most of which weren't properly tested. You owned the app, so why weren't different versions of the app tested? Why did you not insist on proper testing of the app?
In their testimony that in order to increase the speed by which the versions would be deployed, that they were not all tested.
So you were aware at the time that they weren't being tested, and you were okay with that?
The governance around the project management at the time looked at how the apps were being deployed. And
sorry, I'm looking for clear. Ma'am, I have limited time, and I'm looking for clear answers to clear questions.
I'm going to turn to my colleague Luc Brisbois from the Border Services.
No. I want to hear from PHAC. Over 10,000 people were falsely sent into quarantine because this app was, in most cases, not properly tested. Are you comfortable with that? And did you brief the minister about the lack of testing?
So it's very regrettable. We're obviously not comfortable when people are erroneously advised. In this case, when they arrived in the country, they were given a green check mark, which means they were cleared for entry without isolation periods. There was then an error in the app that resulted in messages being sent out. The public health agency
I'm asking about the testing.
That is your time. Welcome. Thank you for joining us today. You have the floor for 5 minutes, please.
Thank you very much. Question for Ms. Jeffrey. You indicated that of the 177 updates to the app, that proper testing for the updates wasn't done. Do you believe that's acceptable to operate in that manner?
A best practice would be to test all of the different applications. However, my understanding is a decision was taken to only test a sampling of them because of the time that it took to test those and the pressure to have the adjustments rolled out quickly.
Okay. Who made that decision?
I don't know who made that decision at the time, but
who has the authority to make that decision? Decisions don't just get made; they don't just appear. Who would normally have the authority to make that decision? The
app development and rollout at that stage was being managed by the Canadian Border Services Agency, and the Public Health Agency was collaborating with them in terms of.
Okay, so are you saying it was somebody at CBSA that would have made that decision? Or someone at
I believe that CBSA has already addressed this in their previous testimony at this committee.
So was it somebody in your department that made the decision to not test the apps?
I'm going to turn to Luc Brisbois from the Border Services Branch.
Yeah, I think the President's right in the context that the governance would have been the place where these issues were discussed, but from an IT perspective,
nobody knows. We have all these officials who make decisions that impact people's lives, and nobody knows who makes decisions when the government's going to relax.
I think for the Public Health Agency, the key issue was the dependency on the implementation of the OIC. So things had to be decided, and in the context of this,
every department has
IT
an org chart
would have
with
been
titles
CBSA.
and with names. There's a lot of words going on, but who normally has the authority to decide to relax rules or processes?
With respect to the testing or the contracting?
The testing.
Yeah, the testing, we were providing CBSA with the advice of what we needed in the application, and then we're running the process.
Okay, so who would have the authority to suspend normal processes or relax rules?
I think it would have been done through the governance of the DGs and the ADMs at the time. We'd have to go back and take a look.
Okay, I'll move on. The 10,000 erroneous quarantine orders, was that a specific event? Was there one glitch that created all of that, or was that cumulatively over time 10,000 wrongful quarantine notices were given out?
So that was a specific event that was identified on the 28th of June and resolved on the 20th of July. So it was a specific event in the app, an error that was identified, rectified, and then the Public Health Agency was involved in addressing that.
Okay, so it was one specific event. Did you brief the minister that this event happened?
I was not present at that time, so I can't actually speak to what briefing, but we can take that away.
Okay. Were the 10,000...
Sorry, that's an open-ended. Are you going to get back to the committee when you say take it back? Is that you're implying you're going to come back to us with an answer on that if the minister was briefed? Because, Ms. Jeffrey, I will remind you that you're here representing PHAC, so I know the questions are you, but the committee hopes you're responding for PHAC. And I heard you say you'll come back to us. Are you going to provide us with an answer to that question?
So I'm not aware of what briefing was done at that time, but I take note of the request and I will go back to see if there's evidence of what briefing
Thank
took
you.
place
Then
at that
we
time.
will look for that answer. Appreciate it. Mr. Scheer, you still have 2 minutes left.
Have the 10,000 individuals been notified? The Canadians who were ordered, or the travelers who were ordered to quarantine, have they been notified that they were wrongfully ordered to quarantine?
Yes.
Okay. The decision to pursue a quote non-competitive approach in all of this. Who made that decision?
That decision would have been taken by the public health agency and to take advantage of the contracting vehicle that was set up by PSPC.
Individuals, though, like which individuals would have said, we're going to pursue this approach?
I'll turn to Martin for who signed the authority.
There would have been director generals and executive directors within our program branch.
Can we get names and titles?
I don't have those with me at the time, but I can endeavor
Get back to the committee on that. Okay. Was the minister briefed that a non-competitive approach would be taken on this issue?
The decision at the time was taken within the public service at the director general. It was my recollection of the signature of that contract. It would not be normal practice to brief on the nature of how the operations were being implemented.
Okay. So having taken a non-competitive or sole source approach to just not have any kind of comparisons, not do any kind of shopping around to see if you can get a better price or a better product, who provided the oversight monitoring the invoices that were coming in from GC Strategies?
The public health agency did not contract with GC Strategies. I thought you were referring to the KPMG contracts that were administered through the agency. So it would have been at CBSA.
At CBSA.
Yes.
Okay.
That we're monitoring those contracts related to the app development.
Okay. I think that's all I have.
Thank you very much, Mr. Scheer. You have a few seconds left. You did ask for some other information, but I didn't at about the 1 minute mark. Can you just? I didn't. I do like to get an acknowledgement from witnesses. The
decision makers around the decision to pursue a non-competitive approach. We would like to know who made that decision.
All right.
On the KPMG.
Again, if you could make note of that request and provide an answer forthwith. Thank you.